Hello, this is Rachel from StudioUs, getting ready to walk you through another awesome drawing tutorial. Today we're going to get a bit tropical and work on this beautiful flamingo that we'll make with oil pastels. So grab your supplies and we'll get started. We're going to start out with a blank piece of paper, a nice drawing pencil with an eraser, a Sharpie to go over our lines at the end, and a big eraser to clear off all those pencil lines afterward. So we'll start with our first shape. We'll start with the body of the flamingo. And what I'm doing is marking out on the sides of the paper where I see the bottom of that shape starting and ending, marking out my height and how far out I see it going. From there, I'm going to give myself a few guide dots just to kind of sketch out the shape and make sure I'm liking the way it looks before I draw it all the way in. It's always much easier to erase these little dots than it is to clear an entire line out. So I see that I want to go a little bit higher with the curve to get it arcing down a little more. Bring that up, and now we'll draw it in. Bring that to the side of the body, the inside of that head shape. Give myself a little guide to get kind of a squared off circle shape. Here I'm just curving around those edges. Not perfectly circular, but pretty darn close. Alright, we're going to start building up the beak. It's got a lot of angles, so we're going to do this in stages to kind of build it up as we go. Got that first shape in there. We're adding in the next one and marking out how close it comes to the body to give myself a point to aim for as I'm drawing in that bottom shape. And then getting in the point on the beak. So every time it changes directions a little bit, we throw in an extra shape just to help guide us and get those angles just right. We're adding in the inside curves of the neck, marking out where I see it starting on that beak and where I see it ending. Same thing for that bottom curve. Now we're going to bring those lines around. Kind of imagine them going through the beak and then dot out where we see it curving around to fill out the rest of that body shape. Bringing that through the beak and coming down to the base of the body. Using those guide dots to help shape out the curve of the neck, bringing it around, drawing it in completely. Alright, we're going to erase these lines inside the head and the line connecting the neck to the body. We have a nice complete shape with the face kind of going in front of the neck and then tucking in front of the body as well. Do a really good job erasing. We don't want to have any extra pencil lines hanging out, confusing us when we're doing Sharpie lines later. Drawback in the pencil lines we want to keep that might have gotten erased a little bit. And now we'll start adding in that eye. So I'm looking closely. It's not starting inside that circle for the head. It's starting inside that first shape for the beak. curving back into the circle. And get our eye shape, and then it's going to swoosh back forward to shape out the bottom of the beak. Adding in the mouth and the nostril. The mouth has a little angle to it to go with the bend, so I'm marking out where the bend is, where it starts, and where it ends. Then draw it in. Sketching that little nostril and a little dot in the eye. Alright, we're going to start adding in the feathers along the back line of that body. And the way these work, they curve up above the line and then scoop around and come to a point inside the body. So you get a little curve and then a little point coming around. And watch how far they go into the body. Some of them go really far in, some of them only go in just a little bit. Got those in. Now we're going to clear out that body line where it goes through the feathers. I just do a quick erase over the whole thing and then draw my lines back in wherever I erased them. Alright, we're going to add some of those big feathers coming through the body. And just like with everything else, I like to mark where it starts, where it ends, and how far out it goes. These can be pretty sketchy. You want to keep them spaced out and use those back feathers as a guide for where the rest of them kind of come through. We're going to add in the little details on the beak. And a final set of feathers on the body. These are a little smaller and easier to track, so a lot of them I just kind of sketch in. Usually it's easy to start from the front and just work your way back. And that's our drawing. We're going to grab a Sharpie, go over these pencil lines real quick, make sure everything's looking nice and neat. Always take your time with the Sharpie. And always erase the pencil lines. You can't erase the Sharpie as easily or really at all. So you want to be super careful, even more so with the Sharpie than when you were drawing with your pencil. Double check and make sure you get all of your feathers. You don't want to go through all this trouble and then erase your pencil lines and find out you've erased a feather that you wanted to keep. So we've got our Sharpie lines. We'll grab our eraser, go over everything, and then we'll get to coloring. So the color, we're going to start with a medium blue, put a little bubble around our flamingo, and fill that in to outline it. With the oil pastels, I always work really diligently to make sure that texture goes on smooth. We're speeding up the video because it kind of takes forever, but really take your time on this, get a nice smooth finish by wiggling that pastel back and forth a ton. After that, we're going to grab a dark blue and just lightly shade in some of the dark areas. From there, we're grabbing a light peach, hitting all of the lightest highlights on the feathers and the pink areas in the flamingo. Grabbing a pink and filling in all the other white spaces where that flamingo is supposed to be pink. Really take your time on this part. Get a smooth finish on there. It's going to make putting all the other colors on so much easier if you already have that pink laid on nice and thick. Getting the top of the neck. Now we're going to grab a red, and I'm just lightly fuzzing it on there. You can see it's looking kind of scratchy and rough. And what I'm going to do is get that all in and then go in with a pink and blend it out. And you can see that softens that color up. From there, we're grabbing a light purple, hitting those purple highlights wherever you see them. Same with a light blue, and then a golden yellow to fill those in. Grabbing a white for the highlights on the peach, a little blending on the yellow in the beak, orange in the beak, some reddish purple, and black on the beak. And that's it. You've got a nice looking flamingo. Great job.